New Zealand versus Afghanistan, T20 Cricket World Cup 2022 preview with myself, Steve Wyss, and Kevin Harper. The second game of the day on Wednesday. This is a 7 p.m. local time kickoff, an early morning in the UK, not quite as early as the England-Ireland game. Kev, are you excited? Is this the sort of match that gets your excitement going or not?
I like watching Afghanistan, actually, Steve. They're a good side to watch. They're very much, they play the similar style of cricket to the West Indies that won this tournament in 2016, albeit not quite as powerful and not quite as fearsome, perhaps. But as you've just flashed up there, the one spanner in the works for those getting up at sort of 9 o'clock to watch this game, the rain might be worth an extra couple of hours in bed.
Well, I say we talked about this, the England-Ireland match. We don't really know. We might get rain. We might not. Well, I think that we're definitely going to get rain at some point. The question is how much. Will it be reduced overs matches and so on and so forth? So it makes things difficult, especially going into the evening here. It looks like there's a chance for more rain. So, yeah, let's wait and see how it goes in that respect. But and I guess from a betting perspective, pre-game, you've got to factor that in, Kev, haven't you? You've got to be careful. And in some bets you might get on that still are valid and still stand, it could be dangerous territory if you're not careful.
Yeah, I mean, if you bet on the match outcome, and okay, the odds are probably one-sided, and New Zealand probably are well fancied. But if you do bet on the match outcome and your team loses the toss and they're put into bat first, and then the opposition only have to bat 5 or 6 overs, and then the heavens open, well, those 5 or 6 overs constitute a match. And if they're ahead when the heavens open on Duckworth-Lewis, you've done your nuts, and they've run off with the points. So, you know, it's one of those things, and you have to be really, really careful. And as such, I wouldn't bet on this game from a match point of view or any markets that are live until I know the result of the toss. I'd want to be on that side who bats second, because looking at that forecast, the 60% and above rain, which is where I tend to take real notice, because that's more chance of rain than not, so to speak. That comes along in what you would call the second innings of this match. So I would imagine whoever wins the toss is going to bowl first. Well, they are going to bowl first, aren't they? You don't take the risk of when that much rain is around. And you need to know who that is. I mean, okay, you might end up taking a shorter price on Afghanistan if they end up batting second, but at least you know they're batting second, as opposed to now you back them at 7-2, they bat first, and realistically they then become a 10-1 chance, don't they? So factor it in for sure.
This pitch here at the MCG and the conditions sort of heading into it, who's that going to suit better? Because Afghanistan come here on the back of playing a match at Perth, which is completely different, conditions as they are in Melbourne right now. New Zealand played at Sydney first time. I mean, you got to think that this is more, certainly more alien conditions to Afghanistan in general anyway in Australia. So surely New Zealand have the edge venue-wise.
Yeah, I mean, that Perth pitch, we spoke about it during the Australia-Sri Lanka preview, didn't we? It's more unique than probably anywhere in the world. Maybe the only one that's even remotely close to it is Johannesburg, isn't it, in terms of pace and bounce? And the other thing that we don't really ever factor in is there's a 5-hour flight from Perth to anywhere else to play cricket in this country. So that basically wipes out a day of preparation time, doesn't it? Sitting in an airport and then going on a 5-hour flight and everything else. So that's going to impact Afghanistan. Like you say, they're not used to these conditions anyway. Clearly, with the bat the other day, they just couldn't lay bat on ball with the pace and the bounce. There isn't that here. This is much more of a pitch that they should be able to go well on, but they don't play on many grounds of this size either. So even just things like setting their field in the right places to restrict runs is going to be an issue. Although, to be fair, Mohammed Nabi's played in the Big Bash an awful lot, so he should know how the pitch works, the Afghanistan captain.
New Zealand were mightily impressive against Australia, weren't they? A lot more impressive than many people expected. And, we talked about this in the outright preview that you actually said, I'm sure they're going to go out there and surprise me again, as they always do. And it almost felt like a bit of, deja vu again, didn't it, in that respect? Do you think they're going to continue in that sort of mold here? They're now the 1-5 favourites to win a game, so they're expected to deliver quite comfortably here. Is that less of a favourable situation for New Zealand, or do you think that? My point is there going to be a come down after that Australia performance? Do you think?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, given how long it had been since they won a game in Australia, 11 years, there's naturally going to be a come down. The New Zealand, Australia, that's a big thing. Coming down and playing against Afghanistan, in a much emptier ground. I wouldn't have thought there'd be many people at all at the ground, given the forecast by the time this game starts. They're going to find it hard to get up. Okay, yeah, they're at the MCG, but I wouldn't have thought the MCG means as much to a New Zealander as it does to an Australian, and maybe even an Englishman, because the English taste it every Boxing Day, every 4 years. So yeah, it's a tough ask, isn't it? Are they going to play as well as they did against Australia? Absolutely not. There's not a chance they're going to play that well again. They won't play that well again in the tournament. But the luxury that they have is they shouldn't need to. 75% should be enough to get the job done.
Exactly that. So Afghanistan, then, how could they potentially win this game? I think obviously they're probably going to have to bat second, and maybe a bit of Duckworth Lewis in there. But sort of bowling wise, batting wise, who would have to have a good game if Afghanistan have any chance of winning the match?
Well, you always think Rashid Khan's got to have a good game, don't you? I mean, he's money in T20 cricket. Mujeeb, yeah, he's pretty good. But the ones that impressed me, Steve, against England were the seamers, the three seamers, and they didn't even play the fella Naveen Ul Haq, who played for Leicestershire in the last two T20 blasts and was top wicket taker in them. So they've got a decent seam attack, and in swinging conditions, if they catch New Zealand at the right time, they could do some damage there. I mean, Finn Allen, your mate from Yorkshire, he is very all or nothing. He'll come at the bowling like he did against Australia, and New Zealand are happy for him to do that because they give him that license. And if he comes off, then they know that probably 8.5, 9 times out of 10, he's going to come off to an extent that he's going to get them into such a position that they're going to struggle to lose, as was the case against Australia. And also, they also know that if he doesn't come off, Devon Conway is opening partner and Kane Williamson at 3. They're the two perfect, ideal batsmen to rebuild the innings and then lay a platform for the rest of the bigger hitters to come. So if Afghanistan are going to win this game, rather than target Finn Allen, yes, they need to kind of get him out early. They need to get Conway and Williamson because they're the two that build the platform for the rest. If that platform isn't built and then then the spinners come on and squeeze, then that's the way in. However, in these conditions, yeah, it's an extremely tough ask.
I've got to say, I like the idea of. I'm not actually sure what the sixes line here is. I like the under sixes, but the problem is when someone like Finn Allen, he is such an all or nothing player that if he doesn't come off for New Zealand, the sixes line for the whole match probably goes under. But just a few overs of him, and he's capable of smashing a few, isn't he? So he's such an important batsman for them. Type of batsman that he is. But in terms of the match bets, would you hard-earned cash be on New Zealand pre-game at 1 to 5? I'm guessing not.
No, not until I know that they're batting second, Steve. I don't want a 5-6 over run chase. They might still win it, New Zealand, because they've got two of the best new ball bowlers, swing bowlers in the world that there's ever been in the world in Trent Boult and Tim Southee. So even if Afghanistan have got to get to a certain score after 5 overs, and then the rain comes after 5 overs and 1 ball. There's no guarantee that Afghanistan get there, but they're an awful more likely to get to a 5 over score than they are a 20 over score. So it's that kind of thing to factor in. For me, it's not a game to bet on pre-match. Obviously, if it was in dry, perfect conditions in Perth, then yeah, New Zealand all the way, but we're not.
You've got one bet for the game, and I think you're right to be cautious here. Just a 1-unit selection, and it is on Trent Boult to be man of the match. So, I mean, you just mentioned him briefly there about how you think he can do a bit of damage in the game. But I guess he is someone, if he comes off, he's always going to get a lot of the public vote, isn't he?
Yeah, and also if we've got one of those 5 over run chases, but Afghanistan bat first, then there will be a player of the match as long as we get to 5 overs in the second innings. So Trent Boult could have ripped through them. We could have had our 5 overs, then it absolutely lashed down the rain. We ain't got no batsman for New Zealand that can score quickly enough in 5 overs to take notice. So it's going to be a bowler, isn't it? If you think back to the England game in a 20-over game against Afghanistan, it was a left-arm seamer that ran through them in Sam Curran, and happy days for us that was the case. And Trent Boult's exactly the same. I actually think he's got even more chance of running through them here, Steve. The reason why I say that is because you look at the two openers for Afghanistan. Well, Gurbaz, the wicketkeeper who played for the Guyana, I mean, he comes at absolutely everything. I mean, he may as well start halfway down the crease because that's where he finishes every single time. And you just know Boult's going to swing the ball so wide that, you know, the stumps are basically the size of a bouncy castle for him. So I'd be amazed.
I think we are just losing Kev momentarily here with some internet issues. As he's describing the Trent Boult man of the match bet there at 10-1 for 1 unit with Betfair. Hopefully we can re-find Kev very, very soon. Where was I going to go with this? I was going to have a look at the top batsman market, and hopefully we'll have a quick look at that before we finish now. Top home batsman. And I mentioned Finn Allen at 3-1. He can be backed to win this particular game. I'm not actually sure what's happening there with the Kev thing. Hopefully he can come back. I think he's left. Yeah, he's left the arena. Hopefully we'll bring him back very soon. Yeah, Devon Conway is the favourite. Finn Allen is the second favourite. All or nothing sort of player, Finn Allen. We know that. Kane Williamson always a very solid option, although we know he's got that long-term injury with his elbow, of course, which is a difficult one. This is where I ask him if there's anyone down the order that's worth coming in. But if it's potentially a reduced overs game, then we're just going to have to, you got to really look at the top of the order, haven't you? Really? And in terms of the top Afghanistan batsman, I know Gurbaz is a man that Kev is a big fan of, and he's capable of hitting a big ball. So he would be my potential selection there. But unfortunately, we've lost Kev in that scenario today. So hopefully we can recover him for the match previews for Wednesday. But I'm going to have to sign off here. We do know that there is one bet for the game. Trent Boult, man of the match, at 10-1 for 1 unit with Betfair. But he's got a message with me now. Electric has tripped off. He's going to try and connect very soon. So we'll hang on the line for a little bit here, and he can give us some opinions on the top Afghanistan batsman, top New Zealand batsman. But I do a few. While we're here, let's just have a look at the socials, which you can follow, of course, 4 Twitter accounts to have a look at ASB Pod, at KevSat, at Meatman Soccer, and at KevSat Sports Bets. And check out Kev's site, kevsatsportsbets.com. I'll do a detailed profit and loss on Twitter and on for the next show as well, because we've had some decent outright success so far. The match bets are slightly behind on right now, but we did have a good winner yesterday with the sixes in the Australia match. But appreciate anyone who has been leaving some very kind comments and all the likes on YouTube and the comments on Twitter as well. Appreciate you all. But I think we'll have to leave it there today. Let's say reminder of that one bet in this match. Trent Boult, man of the match, at 10-1. And hopefully he can have a very good day, which will give him that vote. But thanks very much again. We will see you tomorrow for some more. We've got 3 matches to preview for Thursday, I do believe. So hopefully we can get the rain stays away for Wednesday's matches. Hopefully we nail one of these bigger price winners. Trent Boult coming will be really good for us. But take everyone, stay safe, and goodbye.